Hi everyone. Now we are going to discuss a topic called microbial types in foods or microorganisms of foods. In the part 1, we have gone through the introduction of this microorganism of foods and what are the different types of microorganisms of food, and then we have in detail discussion on the bacterial importance in food microbiology. Now in this part we are going to discuss about the filamentous fungi, yeast, virus and animal parasite species importance in the food microbiology. Okay, so let's go see this one. These are the things that we have discussed regarding the bacteria. Gram negative bacilli, then coming to the gram positive, we are having this cocci and rod shape. Let's see the fungi, the important fungal genera of food microbiology. We are having mainly three genera, that is ZYCOMYCOTINA, ASCOMYCOTINA and the DEUTEROMYCOTINA. Let's see what is this fungi. The filamentous fungi grow in the form of a tangled mass that rapidly spreads and may cover several inches of an area in 2 or 3 days, and that by seeing it we can see the fungal growth is there, and that fungal uh, mycelia or the tangled mass is being called as mycelia, okay, or mycelium. And this fungi is going to have a very great importance in foods belonging to in the food microbiology, as I told you, zygomycotina, ascomycotina and deuteromycotina. And this fungi is being isolated, have been isolated from different kinds of the foods, and this is also associated with all types of the foods. Okay, and that means only this fungi is not specific to this concerned food. It is going to have major types of the foods it is going to contaminate or useful whatever it may. So several types of fungi is going to have a very significant role in the spoilage or being a health hazard in foods such as grains, flour, nuts or fruits which do not support the growth. That means those foods actually do not support the growth of bacteria. There this fungi will grow. Okay, why the bacteria is unable to grow in such foods means because of having the low pH, that is acidic pH, and as well as the low water activity. But there this fungi is able to grow on those foods and it is able to spoil them. And not only that, fungi are also going to be useful in the processing of many foods such as cheese. For example, take the Penicillium roqueforti or Penicillium camembert, which are very useful in the production of cheese. Okay, the production of the cheese was there in detail in a separate video. You can go through it. And some fungi are able to produce some enzymes which are very important in food processes. Example is the amylase producing fungi, and they are also going to be used as a valuable source of protein called as single cell protein, and they are also involved in some sort of production of antibiotics. That well known antibiotic is the penicillin, and the species is Penicillium notatum and Penicillium chrysogenum, all those things. Okay, so because of all these things, we are supposed to have a look of certain fungi in the food microbiology concept. So let's go into the first one, that is zygomycotina. Okay, so zygomycotina, these fungi produce asexual spores called as sporangiospores, or they are producing some sort of a sexual spores called as zygospores. And the hyphae are cenocytic and they are not septate. That means there are no walls in this hyphae. Okay, and all the nuclei are going to be dispersed throughout this tube-like one called as a hyphae. That's why this is called a cenocytic. And but older hyphae may have some sort of a septate formation. Okay, from food microbiology point of view, three genera, namely Mucor, Rhizopus, and Thamnidium, all of which belong to the order Mucorales, are important in this genera, that is Zygomycotina. Okay, so let's see the Mucor. So as I told you, Mucor forms the typical mycelium of cenocytic hyphae, and hyphae is going to produce an erect sporangiospore that bears the columella with a sporangium at the apex, and it is not going to possess any rhizoids. So these are the root like structures called as rhizoids, and no stolons, that means the connection. is going to be called as a stolon. So such type of the things are absent in the mucar. Okay, and these organisms are going to be present in soil and manure and in some fruits, vegetables, store grains and other foods. And mucus species are especially used in some sort of orient in food preparation. The orient means it's a kind of recipe prepared using in the East Asian countries. So obviously that is, those are called as orient. And we are also going to have the continental food, where we call it as European countries are going, whatever the recipes that they are going to have is called as continental. Okay, and this mucar is mainly involved in the spoilage of berries. All kinds of berry fruits are going to be spoiled by this mucar. Then coming to the rhizopus, it has a cenocytic mycelium and spreads by stolon. So you can see on the bread we are going to have the rhizopus stolonifer, and if you take the section microscopic view and staining, this is how they are going to be. So that's the main difference here. Single hyphae is turning into the sporangia. So from the base itself we are going to get the more hyphae. So it reproduces asexually with sporangiospores. Obviously here also sporangiospores and here also, but there is a difference. And production of the zygospores by sexual reproduction is very rare. Here sexual reproduction is there, but here it's not there. And then rhizopus species of common spoilage, we call it as a bread mould. So rhizopus stolonifer is commonly called as a bread mould, and they are mainly these rhizopus species are mainly involved in the spoilage of stored foods. That means what we preserve, that only going to be damaged by this rhizopus species. And species are used in the production of fermented foods such as temp. So one is a damage, another one is going to be used in the production of fermented foods also. Then coming to the Thymenidium, organisms in this genus have a cenocytic mycelia, same. And these molds produce a small sporangia borne on highly branched. So here you can see of highly branched structure, isn't it? Okay, and one of the best example of this Thymenidium is a Thymenidium elegans is the only species, and it is best known for its growth on refrigerated beef hinder quarters, where its characteristic growth is described as vesicles. So you can see here the small white colored dots, which we are calling it them as vesicles. Okay, so this is all about the zygomycotina importance in the food microbiology. Then moving to the ascomycotina. So here also ascomycetes include both filamentous fungi as well as the yeast. They develop sexual spores as ascospores in a sac-like structure called as ascus. So this is going to be called as ascus and producing the ascospores. Okay, and they also possess an imperfect stage through which they are reproduced by conidiophores also. Okay, some imperfect stage may occur, and there they are going to produce by conidiophores. And though a large number of genera are present, only a very few are important in our food microbiology. So those are going to be of Bisoclamis and Claviceps and Neurospora. So let's see the first one, Bisoclamis. So this genus is a telomorph. So what is meant by telomorph? It's a perfect stage, okay, state or perfect stage. And this is how they are going to be seen when cultured on a medium. And ascospores of this organism are heat resistant. So because of this heat resistant, when it is able to cause the spoilage in high acid canned foods also, though you think that you have heat treated it, but it is able to resist and it is able to spoil the canned foods. And some Bacillus fulva is also able to produce a mycotoxin which will damage our health. Then coming to the next one, claviceps. The claviceps purpura is of most important, having a very much interest for the food microbiologists to study about it because of its production of toxic alkaloids on the cereals. When this toxic alkaloids were ingested, these alkaloid causes numerous symptoms, especially hallucinations. So you are going to be in some sort of hallucinations, isn't it? And then coming to the neurospora. So this is how the claviceps, you are going to see them like this. Okay, these are going to be some sort of rot like structure, and these are the cross section of this rod-like structure, okay, that you can see. Then coming to the neurospora, this neurospora is going to be called as a red or pink mold, and the well-known species of it is Neurospora crassa and Neurospora cytophila are the two well-known species of this genus. And these are going to be found mainly in the warm and humid environments, okay. And this, as I told you, two species out of that one, that is crassa and cytophila. Cytophila is going to cause problems mainly in the bakeries, and not only that, this neurospora is also being used in the fermentation of red or orange ontogeny, red or orange ontogeny. So this you can see here a nice orange color growth of this neurospora. Then what is this orange ontogeny? So it's a fermented peanut press cake used in the Orient food making, that is in East Asian recipes. We are going to have the usage of this one. Okay, so that's all about the Ascomycotina. Then we will move to the Deuteromycotina. So this Deuteromycotina is a heterogeneous group of fungi having a branching septate hyphae and reproduces asexually by conidiophores. They're going to reproduce asexually by conidiophores, and this there is a great diversity in asexual apparatus and the conidia. Sexual states are not known, but sometimes we can observe the genetic recombination by parasexual methods. Okay, and then moving to the next one of different species, that is Alternaria. So this genus is characterized by muriform dark color multiseptate spores, and the mycelium may be woolly, gray, brown, olive green, and most and coming to the most prevalent mold of causing spoilage of tomatoes, and this is also able to produce some sort of rancid flavors in dairy products. So this is how you are able to see this alternaria in damaging the tomato fruits. And when you microscopically observe this alternaria, this is how the picture will be. Then coming to the aspergillus. So as we know, this aspergillus includes more than 100 species. Out of this, organism cause spoilage of a wide range of food products of plant origin mainly. The aspergillus are of great importance in food and industrial, that is in the industrial microbiology. Okay, for example, this is going to be used in the production of citrus acid production. Okay, and not only great importance in the food and industrial of productions of different kinds of products, they're also involved in the food spoilage, as I told you, mainly of plant origin. So here you can see this onion. Oftenly we'll come to see this one black color growth, so that is nothing but our aspergillus, and microscopical observation is this is how. And one more thing is this aspergillus is also able to spoil the oils also. Generally, we think that oils won't get damaged, but that also gets spoiled because of this aspergillus, such as peanuts, peanut oil, or your palm oil, or the corn oil, whatever it may be. They are all going to be damaged or spoiled by this aspergillus species. And some, as I told you, few of them are also involved of a great importance, like aspergillus glaucus produces a katabushi, a product, a fermented fish product is going to be formed. Okay, and some sort of you are going to have in the importance of food, that is a citric acid production is going to be of very useful in the food as a food preservative in majority of the foods. Okay, so this is all about the aspergillus. Then moving to the botrytis. This botrytis is also called as a green mold, or sorry, gray mold. It's not green mold, gray mold, and it is going to produce some sort of a septate mycelium, producing a long, slender, and often pigmented conidiophores. That means the conidiophores are going to be of color, so that's why we call it as a pigmented. And those conidia are going to be of gray in color. Okay, and botrytis cinerea is the most common in food, and these are notable as a gray mold rot of apples, grapes. Here you can see here, this is a strawberry on which you are able to see the botrytis, and here on the grapes. Okay, so the other fruit that it is going to impact is your citrus fruits, and this comes under the citrus fruits, your raspberries, and then strawberries, then blueberries, all these things. Okay, and then coming to the next type of Deuteromycotina species which are important food microbiology is cladosporium. So cladosporium is going to have a septate hyphae with dark tree-like budding conidia. So here you can see it's a tree-like conidia, variously branched, and this is the characteristic feature of this genus, that is cladosporium genus is going to have a characteristic feature of having this tree-like budding conidia. And some conidia are going to be of lemon shape. So here you can see. Okay, cladosporium herbarium produces a black spot on beef and frozen meat. Meat means mutton especially, and some even spoil the butter and margarine, and some cause a restricted rot of stone fruits, black rot of grapes. So here you can see the black rot of grapes. Okay, and some other this cladosporium herbarium and cladosporidus are the two most prevalent on fruits and vegetables. So this mainly involved in the food damage only, that is spoilage rather than the useful. Then coming to the next one is the Colatotrichum, and this Colatotrichum is coleomycetes fungi that produces conidia inside the acervillus. So here you can see, so these are going to be the pictures of it where the conidiophores are going to be produced inside it. Okay, and the acervilla are disc or cushion shape. So as I told you, they are going to be of a disc or cushion shape, waxy, and generally dark in color. So and the example of this Colatotrichum is going to be Colatotrichum gliosporidus, and this is going to cause a disease called as anthracnose on some fruits, especially mango and papaya. So here you can see the symptom of anthracnose infection, which is caused by Colatotrichum gliosporidus. Okay, then moving to the Fusarium. This fungus produces a cottony mycelium with tinges of pink or red or purple or brown. Okay, we can see this one. And conidia or septate fusiform. So here you can see conidia are going to be of a fusiform to sickle shape. So it is going to be of a sickle shape. And this fusarium species cause brown rot of citrus fruits, pineapples, and soft rots of figs. In the figs, we'll see the soft rot because of this fusarium. As field fungi, some grow on cereal grains also. So this fusarium is mainly going to be as a field fungi, and they are going to grow on the cereals or the grains. Okay, and some species produce some sort of a mycotoxins also, which are very dangerous. So like zearalenone and trichothiecin, or some sort of mycotoxins that are being produced by this fusarium. So then coming to the other type of important Deuteromycotina species is Zeotrichum, Sporotrichum, and Penicillium. So Zeotrichum, so here you can see it is also called as a dairy mold or machinery mold, because they are going to be involved in the spoilage of majority of the dairy products. So that's why this is also going to be called as dairy mold, and this is also called as a machinery mold because it will grow on the equipment on which food particles are attached or the juices are attached. So that's why this is also called as machinery mold. And this geotrichum is a yeast-like fungus, grow rapidly at a room temperature, forming white to creamy colored colonies. Okay, and the septate or branching hyphae fragment into chains. So here you can see of rectangular shape. That's also very important, or barrel shape. Okay, and readily break apart. So this, if you are going to consider, they are ready to form into the small bits. Okay, and each one is going to again act as a new individual. And these are orthospores or of means of reproduction. So as I told you, these are producing the orthospores, and these are the means of reproduction. and this is mainly involved in the spoilage of food. So we can consider this as a spoilage organism, mainly as I told you in the dairy product, and as well as it also causes some sort of watery rot spoilage in tomatoes, okay, potatoes, all these things. It's a dry rot, and this is going to be of soft rot in tomatoes, and some sort of machinery mold, as I told you. Example is ZEOTRICHUM candida is called as a machinery mold, which is going to uh, call as a machinery mold because of contaminating or growing on equipment where the food is going to be attached. Okay, then moving to the next one, Sporotrichum. The best species of Sporotrichum is a Sporotrichum caronis. It's a psychrophilic species, that means it will grow at lower temperatures. Okay, and this is a picture of Sporotrichum caronis. So on in a chill mid, how it has gone is to see this one. Generally we are preserving by keeping at the low temperature, but at that condition it is able to grow. Okay, and then this colonies are usually white, but maybe yellow, gray, pink, red, or green. And as usual, I told you, it causes a defect called white spot of refrigerated meat. And the last but not least, which is very important, is a penicillium. And this penicillium species are going to be characterized by branching of the conidiophores to form a brush-like conidial head. Okay, and the conidia may be white, gray, or gray green, or green, blue green, or yellow green, whatever it may be. So you can see the growth of this penicillium on lemon. So here you can see them. Okay, and penicillium species are widely distributed in nature and are found on many foods. Not only one food, they are present everywhere. And there are important spoilage organisms of fruits as well as on the seeds. Species of penicillium are useful in various ways. For example, some species are involved in the antibiotic production. I told you already, isn't it? Penicillium. And these penicillium are also useful in the cheese production, like Penicillium camberberti and Penicillium roqueforti. And certain species of penicillium can be health hazards also. So they're also involved not only in the spoilage, they're also going to have the health hazards like Penicillium citrinum, Penicillium islandium, where these are involved in yellow rice disease, which caused the death of several people in the ancient time or in some period time ago. So this yellow rice disease caused several death of people. So that's all because of this penicillium. So we are going to have the two concepts here. The penicillium is going to be used in productions, as well as they are also having the important in the spoilage also. So that's all about the fungi. Important fungi related to the food microbiology. We have gone through the ZYCOMYCOTINA, ASCOMYCOTINA, and DEUTEROMYCOTINA. Now we will move to the important genera of yeast in food microbiology. So we are having mainly of the two things. One is a Ascomycetes and the Deuteromycete. The yeasts have been defined as a fungi. So this is also a fungi in which the usual dominant or conspicuous form is unicellular. So because of the unicellular nature, we are going to read it in a separate concept. But actually, it also comes under the fungi only. Some yeasts produce a true mycelium by fission of cells that remain attached. So yeast can be defined or differentiated from bacteria. So what is the difference between the bacteria and yeast? Both are unicellular, but there is a lots of variation in their larger size, their shape, or elliptical or spherical cell shapes. And because of all these reasons and containing the nucleus, all these are going to have the showing the difference between the yeast and the bacteria. And there are about 350 species recognized and classified in about 39 genera. The classification of yeast is based on its morphological, cultural, sexual, and uh, physiological characters. Okay, this is all just introduction about the yeast. Okay, don't bother about it. So that yeast related to our food microbiology. Let's come. So yeast are associated with almost all types of food products. Foods such as fresh Vegetables, fresh fruits, meat, poultry, and cheese often contain these yeast. Okay, but in these foods, bacteria usually outgrow the yeast. That's why we can't see the growth of the yeast, because whatever the foods that I told you, the fresh vegetables, meat, poultry, the bacteria is going to dominate this yeast. Okay, so that's why we can't see the yeast growth. These yeast are found in foods such as honey, molasses, sugar, and fruit. Where the bacteria can't grow, there they are going to grow, because I told you the fungi are the acidophilic one, which allows to grow at the acidic conditions. And where more carbohydrate concentration is there, obviously it shows the acidic pH. And some salt tolerant yeast are also going to grow on the some sort of a brine food, that is a high salt concentrated food. Brine means high salt concentration, and on salted food and ham. Okay, then coming to the certain yeast which are very important in baking industry, in single cell protein production, and in the fermentation of some alcoholic beverages. So these are certain important yeast in food microbiology that we will discuss in detail one by one. So let's come to the first one is Candida. So here you can see these all looks alike, but there is a structural difference in them. Okay, general characters are going to be different from one another. We are not going to go in detail about their structures, characters, all these things. Just we are going to discuss whether how they are related to our food microbiology. So here comes the first one is Candida. This is rather large and heterogeneous group of yeast. Okay, that is in the yeast genus. This is a major one. All species form the pseudomycelia. They don't have any mycelia like fungi. So all form the pseudomycelia, and some form the true mycelia too. And these are going to be widespread and mainly involved in the spoilage of various foods such as your frankfurties, fresh fruits, vegetables, dairy products, brine, and alcoholic beverages. The one of the best example of Candida is Candida vini, forms flowers or wine and causes spoilage of wine. So this is a figure of Candida vini, okay, which is involved in the spoilage of wine. And then you're also going to have another species called as Candida microderma, is a film forming yeast on fermenting olive and cucumber brines. So there also, though it's a high salt concentration, it is able to spoil those brines by forming a film. And some sort of psychrophilic strains, that means the one which grow at low temperatures, dominant in refrigerated fruit juices, and there they are going to cause the spoilage. And this genus also contains strains of yeast that are useful in the industries, that is food industry, and in associated industry, that means the food associated industries also this Candida is being used. And this Candida are also being used as a food and fodder. So that means to feed the animals also it is being used, and as a single cell protein also they are being used as a food. So that's how this Candida is involved, having an important role in the food microbiology. Then coming to the next one is Debaromyces. So this Debaromyces, the vegetative cells are often spherical to globose and produced by multilateral budding. So you are going to see here it's going to have a multilateral budding, and the sexual spores are spherical or oval, and these are mostly distributed film forming yeast associated with again food brines, that means which are having the high salt concentrations, and they are mainly involved in the spoilage of mushrooms, cheese, then cider, white wine, tomato puree, sausage, and salted beans. Where you are going to have the more salt concentration, there this Debaromyces is going to cause the damage of them or spoilage of those foods. Then coming to the Saccharomyces. So this is here a lovely picture of the Saccharomyces cerevisiae. We know that commonly called as a baker's yeast or brewer's yeast, isn't it? So this Saccharomyces cerevisiae is going to have a very useful in the brewery industries as well as in the bakery products. So that's how we know about this Saccharomyces. But there are certain species which are involved in the spoilage of the foods also, like fruits, food products like honey, vinegar, dairy products, okay, etc. So some Saccharomyces species like Roxy and Bisporus are mainly involved in the spoilage of our dates and honey, which are very sweet in taste. Those are being lovely foods are going to be damaged by this Saccharomyces cerevisiae. That is Saccharomyces species, not cerevisiae. It is a baker's yeast which is involved in our bread making, all those things. But this Roxy and Bisporus species are involved in causing the spoilage of our dates and honey. Okay, then coming to the next one is a Torylopsis. So these are credited with this causing spoilage of cottage cheese and then refrigerated beef, cream, butter, sweetened condensed milk, uh, and various food brines. So that's how this is the Torylopsis. Okay, so where you are going to see them, and these are also going to be called as a imperfect yeast. Okay, and as I told you, they are involved in the spoilage of various types of foods, and all these foods are going to be spoiled by this yeast called as Torylopsis. We are also going to have the other species like Rhodotorula, and then Hansenula, and then Pichia, and Schizosaccharomyces, all these things. But these are a few examples that I want to give you in detail about it. Okay, so this is all about the yeast, important genera of yeast which are having a importance in food microbiology. Then coming to the viruses and animal parasites. So first of all, viruses. So like fungi, yeast and bacteria, viruses cannot replicate in food materials, that we know, because they are not obligate parasites and cause disease in human beings, isn't it? The presence of virus can be considered potentially harmful. Our primary viruses that can infect people and are food-borne are the intestinal viruses, which include enteric viruses, that is what we call as intestinal viruses, which are going to include enterovirus, adenovirus, reovirus, etc. That cause infectious hepatitis and some sort of epidermal viral diarrhea. So here is the infectious hepatitis figure, which are involved in causing the infectious hepatitis and epidemic viral diarrhea. So since these viruses are intestinal, they are found in feces of, that is fecal matter of infected person, and resultant sewage. So obviously the sewage contains this infected person's fecal matter, so the sewage may also have. When such sewage water are used to irrigate purpose or for fertilizer, fertilizing crops, the vegetation is contaminated. That means the leafy vegetables, fruits, all these are going to be contaminated with this sewage water containing these viruses. Such foods, if are going to be eaten raw, the contaminate virus that are not removed by washing or ingested. So that means they enter into our body and they are going to cause the infections. Similarly, shellfish growing in the sewage contaminated coastal water tend to accumulate these viruses, and those who are eating those shellfish fish may also going to get this infections. So virus can attack useful fermenting organisms also. For example, if you are going to take the bacteria which are going to be very useful, or the penicillium which are going to be very useful in the production process, so these viruses can attack such organisms, and what it is going to do, resulting in unsatisfactory products. Since viruses are what they are doing in them means they are going to alter their genetic transformation and causing some sort of mutations where they are incapable of performing their actual process. Okay, so that's how viruses are indirectly involved in the damage or the spoilage of food, but not directly. Then coming to the animal parasites. So animal parasites that occur associated with different types of foods belong to three distinct groups, as it here, protozoa, flatworms and the roundworms. In contrast to our foodborne bacteria, animal parasites do not proliferate in the foods. So like viruses, here these also do not proliferate in foods, and their presence must be detected by direct means. That means we have to detect them by direct or by going to since they cannot grow in the culture media. So how you are going to, you have to take the contaminated food which contain, and you have to find the adult or the larval stage. Okay, and in protozoa, 5 genera, namely Giardia, Entamoeba, Toxoplasma, Sarcocystis, and Cryptosporidium, are of concern in foods. So they are going to be the main contaminants in the food. Along with this, we are having the Sarcocystis and Cryptosporidium are going to be involved, belonging to the protozoa genera. Okay, then coming to the among the flatworms, you're going to have a fasciola, then fasciolopsis, then paragonimus, and clonorchis, and tinea, and some diphyllobothrium are going to be transmitted through foods only. So these are all genera also going to spread the diseases of flatworms through the food only. Then coming to the disease causing roundworms, that is the roundworms of primarily importance in foods, belong to 2 orders of the phylum nematodes. Okay, and the 6 genera that cause foodborne diseases are Trichinella. Then you may have the Terbatrix. Along with this, you are going to have Trichinella, Ascaris, Terbatrix, then Anisakis, Pseudoteronova, and Toxocara. So these are the few 6 genera which are majorly involved in causing the foodborne diseases. So here is a picture of Entamoeba histolytica that is found in the fecal matter. Okay, so it's a microscopic picture. So this is how these are all the different types of microorganisms that are involved in the food microbiology. So these are not important, but at the same time it is having the relationship with the food in causing the diseases. So that's how we are going to read about this virus and animal parasites in brief, not in detail. Okay, so that's all. We end the microbial types of foods or microorganisms in food. Thank you.